All right, Falcons fans, there's a lot to break down as we gear up for Week 14 against the Minnesota Vikings. But first, don't forget to hit that like button to stay updated on all things Falcons. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins, our veteran quarterback with 13 years of experience. This Sunday, he'll lead the team in a big game filled with drama and storylines. Why? Because Cousins is heading back to US Bank Stadium, where he played 6 seasons as the Vikings QB. However, recent performances have sparked some tough questions about his future with the Falcons. Over the last 3 games, Cousins hasn't thrown a single touchdown and has racked up 6 interceptions. Yikes. Just last week against the Chargers, he tied a career low with 4 picks, and the Falcons dropped their 3rd straight game. Now here's the big question. How much longer will the Falcons stick with Cousins before turning to rookie Michael Penix Jr.? Penix, the Falcons' first-round pick, has been waiting for his shot, and the buzz around him keeps growing. According to NFL insider James Palmer, the Falcons are standing by Cousins for now. Head coach Raheem Morris has publicly supported him, praising his leadership and the stability he brings to the team. Let's not forget, Atlanta brought Cousins in to guide this team to the playoffs. Behind the scenes, though, there's a growing sense of urgency. Cousins needs to step up, and soon. Now about Penix Jr., the rookie has been turning heads ever since the Falcons drafted him 8th overall. Coaches love his athleticism, arm strength, and ability to stretch the field. They see him as the future of the franchise, with the potential to offer more explosiveness than Cousins ever could. But here's the dilemma. Cousins is playing on a massive 4-year, $180 million contract. Benching him isn't just a financial issue, it's about optics too. If Penix takes over and shines, you're left with one of the most expensive backups in the NFL. If Penix struggles, it could hurt his confidence and derail the team's playoff hopes. For now, the Falcons are sticking with Cousins, giving him a chance to redeem himself. What better stage than against his old team, the 10-2 Vikings? Still, make no mistake, his leash is getting shorter. Palmer's inside scoop makes it clear. The clock is ticking for Cousins. Kirk Cousins' accuracy has taken a nosedive lately, with his off-target throw percentage doubling over the past 3 games. If this trend continues for another week or two, the calls for change will become impossible to ignore, especially with the Falcons neck and neck with the Buccaneers in the tight NFC South race. Here's where things get interesting. If Cousins struggles again this Sunday, Week 15 against the Raiders might be the perfect time for Michael Penix Jr. to make his debut. The game is on Monday Night Football, giving the rookie an extra day to prepare. Plus, the Raiders' defense hasn't exactly been dominant, making it a potentially low-pressure environment for Penix to step in and shine. Now imagine the excitement if Penix leads the Falcons to a game-changing win under the primetime lights. Not only would it reignite playoff hopes, but it could also spark renewed optimism about the team's future. Let's switch gears to the injury report, which could play a big role in Sunday's game. Star receiver Darnell Mooney missed practice on Wednesday due to rest and an Achilles issue. Fortunately, this seems more precautionary than serious. On the other hand, rookie running back Jace McClellan remains sidelined with a knee injury that kept him out last week. There's good news for the defense, though. Cornerback Mike Hughes, who missed the last 2 games with a neck injury, was a full participant in practice this week and looks ready to return. His presence will be crucial for a defense that needs all the help it can get to contain Minnesota's high-powered offense. So where do things stand? The Falcons are at a crossroads. They're 6, tied with the Buccaneers for the division lead and still in control of their destiny. But the margin for error is razor thin. The team has handed Cousins the reins, but the clock is ticking. If he can't break out of this slump and deliver a win against Minnesota, it might finally be time to see what Michael Penix Jr. can do. All right, Falcons fans, Now it's your turn. Should the team stick with Kirk Cousins for another week, or is it time to give Michael Penix Jr. his shot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. One more update: rookie defensive tackle Rook Ororo is back on the practice field after being sidelined with an ankle injury since Week 8. The Falcons have opened a 21-day practice window for him, and this is big news for a defense that played its best game of the season last week, even in a tough 17-13 loss to the Chargers. Rook Ororo could make his return to the lineup sooner rather than later. The rookie defensive tackle showed flashes of his potential early in the season, recording 5 tackles and a quarterback hit in limited snaps. At 6'2" or 4 inches and 300 pounds, Ororo is a physical force who could give Atlanta's defensive front a much-needed boost as the team pushes for the playoffs. Head coach Raheem Morris highlighted that Ororo benefited from the timing of the bye week, which gave him extra recovery time. While nothing is set in stone, signs suggest he could be back in the coming weeks, a huge lift for a Falcons defense, gaining momentum, but still needing reinforcements for the critical final stretch of the season. In addition to Ororo, the Falcons made another move, signing defensive back Dane K. Shank to the practice squad. While this signing might not grab headlines, it adds depth to a secondary that could need help if injuries strike. This comes as key players like Mike Hughes return to practice, which is another encouraging sign for the defense. Now let's turn back to the quarterback situation, because it's heating up. Kirk Cousins is under heavy fire after a nightmare performance in Week 13 against the Chargers. It was a game many are calling one of the worst of his career. 0 touchdowns, multiple interceptions, and a passer rating below 60. The criticism has reignited debates about the Falcons' decision to sign Cousins during the offseason. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon didn't hold back, calling the move one of the NFL's biggest offseason regrets. Gagnon questioned whether the Falcons made the right call in investing heavily in Cousins when other options were available. The stakes are high, and the pressure on Cousins has never been greater. Will he turn things around? Or is it time for Atlanta to look toward the future? Critics are questioning the logic of spending $180 million on a 36-year-old quarterback recovering from an Achilles injury, while also drafting Michael Penix Jr. in the first round. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon raised a fair point. If the Falcons were so invested in Penix, why not focus on building the roster around the rookie and use that massive contract to address other pressing needs, like the defensive line or linebacker? To be fair, Kirk Cousins has had his moments. With over 3,000 passing yards this season and 3 fourth-quarter comebacks, he's been key in big wins, including 2 against the Buccaneers that kept the Falcons in the NFC South race. But his inconsistency is a glaring issue. Last week, instead of being the reliable veteran the team needed, Cousins became the reason for their loss. With the Falcons sitting at 6-6, tied for the division lead but far from playoff security, every game is critical. This is where the Michael Penix Jr. conversation gets interesting. The rookie has impressed coaches all season, from training camp to his limited game snaps. His athleticism, strong arm, and ability to stretch the field have already made him a fan favorite, even without starting a game. However, Cousins' massive contract complicates things. Benching him could create long-term salary cap issues, including a $40 million cap hit in 2025. Still, if Cousins continues to struggle, the pressure to give Penix his chance will only grow louder. Looking ahead to Sunday's matchup against the 10-2 Vikings, Cousins has a golden opportunity to prove his critics wrong. It's a storybook scenario, returning to Minnesota, where he spent 6 seasons with the chance to show he's still the leader Atlanta needs. But if Cousins stumbles again, the calls for change will only intensify, and the countdown to a quarterback switch may begin. Now, Falcons fans, it's your turn. What do you think about Rook Ororo's potential return? Can Kirk Cousins bounce back, or is it time for Michael Penix Jr. to take the reins? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Falcons updates and analysis. Go Falcons!